Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with the fifth video in this education series where I'll cover the structure and main rules for triangles. There are three main types of triangle. The most common type of triangle is a contracting triangle. And here are diagrams for a contracting triangle in a bull market. In a bull market, price moves higher and the triangle moves price against the main trend. The end of the triangle is lower than the start. In a bear market, price is moving downwards and the triangle moves price against the main trend. The end of the triangle is higher than the start of the triangle. For a contracting triangle, the BD trend line and the AC trend line should move together, and there will be a point in time in the future after the triangle has completed where those trend lines cross over. Sometimes, but not always, sometimes at that point in time we see a trend change, so that's a useful trick for triangles. Expanding triangles are the opposite, and they're actually very, very rare structures. The BD and the AC trend lines move apart, and each subwave of the triangle is longer than its predecessor. That's an expanding triangle in a bull market, an expanding triangle in a bear market. The other type of triangle, more common than an expanding triangle, but less common than the most common contracting triangle, is a barrier triangle. It looks quite similar to a contracting triangle, but the differentiating feature between those two is the BD trend line. The BD trend line for a barrier triangle is essentially flat. For a contracting triangle, the main rule is where each subwave should end. The C wave cannot move beyond the end of the A wave. The D wave of a contracting triangle may not move even a slight fraction beyond the end of the B wave, and the E wave can't move beyond the end of the C wave. For a barrier triangle, the C wave can't move beyond the end of the A wave, but the D wave can move ever so slightly beyond the end of the B wave. The rule for the D wave of a barrier triangle is it should end at about the same point as the B wave, so that the BD trend line is essentially flat. And then the E wave cannot move even a fraction of a point or cent beyond the end of the C wave. There's another distinction between different types of triangles. For all those three types, contracting, expanding and barrier, they can either be regular or running. The difference between a regular triangle and a running triangle is where the B wave ends. This example between regular and running is using the most common contracting triangle. For a regular contracting triangle, the B wave does not move beyond the start of the A wave. It does not make a new price extreme. But for a running contracting triangle, the B wave does move beyond the start of the A wave to make a new price extreme. Only 40% of triangles will be running triangles, so they are less common than regular triangles, but they are still reasonably common. They're not rare structures. So to summarise, the main rules for triangles are as follows. Triangles always subdivide into 5 waves, and because they are a corrective structure, we label those waves with letters A, B, C, D, E. Each subwave of a triangle can only subdivide as a 3-wave structure. For purposes of Elliott wave, a 3 can include a triangle. At least 4 of the 5 subwaves of a triangle will subdivide into a zigzag or a zigzag multiple. Usually, because it's more common, the zigzag multiple would be just a double zigzag, not the very rare triple. A triangle never has more than one complex subwave. The complex subwave of a triangle may be a zigzag multiple, usually a double zigzag, or sometimes one of the subwaves, usually D or E, may itself subdivide as a triangle. For a contracting triangle, C never moves beyond the end of A, D never moves beyond the end of B, E never moves beyond the end of C. so that going forward in time, the triangle subwaves are shorter and it moves price sideways. For an expanding triangle, it's the opposite. C always moves beyond the end of A, D always moves beyond the end of B, and E always moves beyond the end of C. For a barrier triangle, it's the same as a contracting triangle with the exception of B and D. They end at about the same level. Overall, the purpose of triangles is to take up time and move price sideways. It's really important to make sure all the subdivisions are correct and to be very patient if triangles are forming.